Okay. I had to log off and log back on. I got a new camera and that I'm using today, and so the resolution is off. It's got this really dark kind of thing going on, but I don't know. What can you do? I don't know if they got the announcement. This data is not working well. Maybe if I did it up. Yeah. Okay, let's just get going. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Taking Up Space on Michelle A. Mayer podcast. Always excited about coming forward, you guys. Today is absolutely no different. Today, I have a conversation. I don't even know if this is broadcasting, honestly, because the screen isn't moving. Maybe, what should I do? I'll just wait a little bit. I think it's locked. Maybe I'll just record it and do it that way. Yeah, I could do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I was having some technical issues. I apologize, everybody. I got a new phone that I'm using today, and it is giving me, I'm learning from it. So we'll just say that. Welcome, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and get started. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't idling. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Taking Up Space, a Michelle A. Mayer podcast. Always excited about coming forward. Today is absolutely no different. Today I have a conversation for you guys. You know, honestly, last night and a little portion of the day before, I have had this weird vibe. It's this vibe of, I don't know, I've been thinking about things that I normally wouldn't even think about, people that I never think about. I've been thinking of them, and in a captivating, kind of mesmerizing way, like I need to figure something out. And it's brought forth these energies in me that are like, have you ever gone through something really traumatic and you're taking your step-by-step process and healing from it, and then you get to a certain plateau where you're like, okay, I'm off to something new. I'm totally beyond that. And then something happens that brings it right back to you. Yet in it reappearing in your life, you don't look at it the same. Like that energy that normally would have fired you up, that really would have riled you up and gotten you all engrossed in it, is just not there. But a part of you initially wants to go there with it, but then you're like, why am I even paying this any attention? That's what I've been dealing with over the last night, yesterday. It really showed itself in my life. An old pattern of some stuff that I'm totally beyond has reappeared in my life, and I found myself trying to understand it more than react to it. I found myself, having a battle within myself. Do I react to this? Do I try to understand it? You try to feel. I'm a feely person. So I'm trying to feel to see what my spirit wants me to, how my spirit wants me to engage with it. And I just don't have any energy to react in that negative pattern. What I do have is the energy to convert it to a testimony, to convert it to something realistic that can bless both them, others, and myself. And that's what we're going to do today. So you know, all things come full circle with me. When I did my Bible studies, I went step by step throughout the Bible from Genesis all the way to Revelation. And I did it so that I could learn as much as I needed to, and so that everyone that came upon the journey with me could get as much out of it as I did as well. So that we left no rock unturned, that we did all of our footwork, all of our homework, took all the activity needed to get the most out of this book, to make sense of this book. Not that the Bible, the book that I'm speaking to, is written in chronological order. It's not that I didn't do it because of that. I did it just so that I could have some organization to my walk, so that I knew within myself, when it was all said and done, after I had completed going through the entire book, I could know that I went through everything. I didn't leave anything out. And, when I ended the Bible study, the Bible study that I did that was in chronological order to the Bible, I ended it obviously in Revelation. And I chose initially chapter 20 of the book of Revelation to speak to. And I spoke to it, but then I dabbled a little bit in chapter 12. Chapter 12 kept coming up, and I would wonder why. And I know that it was either a podcast or a Bible study that really went in on chapter 12. And today, in going through my emotional kind of ups and downs with what the energies that are pervasive around me, the energies that are around me and that have been surrounding me over the last few days have been energies that are like ghosts of my past, energies of things that I have actually done the work to make serve me, things that plagued my life that I was very angry and frustrated with, and that I got to a place of wrestling with it where I'm just not angry and frustrated with it anymore. I've made it serve me. And in it serving me, it's glorified God. It's giving God all the glory. And in trying to understand these energies, I was brought right back to Revelation chapter 12. And that's what we're going to speak to today. If I look different, y'all, it's because I have this other phone and the settings on it. There's a lot of dark, shadowy kind of settings. So it's just a new phone that I had to use because my other phone, the data is acting up. But so we're going to use that. I put this on my Instagram page, this scripture, Revelation chapter 12, 1 through 4. And I'm going to read it here today. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. So there appeared in heaven a woman, a feminine energy, receptive energy, clothed with the sun. She's shining. She's shining like the sun. And the moon was at her feet. It was under her feet. And upon her head, a crown of 12 stars. She's crowned with 12 distinct stars. Okay? She is the sun. The sun is clothing her. She is the sun. The moon is at her feet. And she is crowned with 12 stars, 12 tribes. These stars are consistent with the 12 tribes of Israel. She's crowned with these stars. She's the mother. She could be considered the daughter. Either way, she is the one that births. She is pregnant also. She is pregnant. She's not waiting to become pregnant. She is pregnant. And she is crowned with 12 stars. She's clothed with the sun. And at her feet is the moon. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth, and pained to be delivered. So she's in her delivery phase. She's having contractions. She's at the point in her pregnancy where her child must be born. And we women know that when we get to that place in delivery, it's nothing that can stop it. Her body is going to do what it's designed to do, and she has no control over it. You see, when we're pregnant with children, many say, oh, wow, women are so marvelous. They create children. Women don't create children. Women are just the vessel that God has blessed to be the portal of which spirit flows through. That's it. We don't sit up and say, I'm going to make the arms of my baby today. I'm going to make my baby's arms this way today. I'm going to make his legs this long. We don't. If that were the case, many of us it would be a whole nother situation going on around here. You think that the fallen ones did a terrible thing with creating mixed hybrids on this planet. It will be off the hook. We are just the vessel. So she is travailing. This woman clothed with the sun. At her feet is the moon, and that is crowned with the 12 tribes of Israel, is pregnant. She has gone full term. She's ripe. The fruit is ripe, and she is ready to give birth. And she's travailing, she's pained, she's trying to find some comfort. She's going through the process of delivery. And there appeared another wonder in heaven. And behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads. So there, we got 2 entities. It's a battle between 2 entities. This woman that I just described, that's pregnant with the 12 tribes that she's crowned with. To be crowned with these tribes, that means she is the mother of these tribes. She is in order for her to be a mother, she must be a daughter first. She's a daughter of Zion, crowned with the tribes. She's crowned with the ancestral, the Elohim aspect. She is crowned in the glory of her ancestry. Pregnant with a child, clothed with the sun, and the moon is bound at her feet. She stands upon the moon. And then we have this other entity, a red dragon figure. Yeah, a red dragon figure that is waiting. Well, I'm not going to put the buggy before the horse. This red dragon figure appears in heaven, and it has 7 heads. 7 faces. This is conducive to 7 people, could be. 7 people, or 7 nations, 7 kingdoms. 7 people in control of 7 different verticals that are all of this entity. And 10 horns. And 7 crowns upon his head. And his tail drew the 3rd part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them into the earth. And did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. This came to me today. I want to go back. I need you to go back. I want to go on a journey with you. What we're looking at is a gumbo of stuff. We see this woman, this person, the daughter of Zion, the stronghold of the house. And we see this dragon with 7 heads, looking to devour that which she gives birth to. It's looking to take that which she gives birth to. As soon as she births it, it is looking to devour it. How did we get to this place? Because what we're looking at in Scripture is a culmination of events. We're looking at a culmination, I don't know what else to call it, of events. Facing of a thing. The end result of a thing. This thing has gone full circle. This woman has been able to conceive and then to go full cycle. And now that the cycle has been fulfilled, she is ready to give birth. She is ready to receive that which is rightfully hers. Yet there is a dragon, a thief, lurking. A thief that would have nothing if it weren't for her and her children. This dragon of old is the same as the serpent in Eden that was cursed, the dust eater. This same serpent has been eating the dust of her children, her mother's children, all throughout their walk. All throughout it. Without these children, these dust eaters would be nothing. They've been made great off of the dust that they have siphoned from these children. From Genesis all the way to Revelation. From Adam and Eve in the garden and them coming upon her mother. It's always this woman figure from beginning to end. It is your women. Who could counter them better? She can dance with them. She knows them better than anybody, friend. It was her mother, those like her, that encountered them first. They came upon her in the garden and beguiled her. This is their nature. They come upon her with trickery, enchantments, smoke, and mirrors. The Apocrypha says that they came upon her as if they were Adam. She thought it was Adam. But it wasn't. It was an imposter of Adam. Nonetheless, what occurred caused a ripple effect through time and space. And that ripple would be condemnation, constraints. And one of which would be for this particular entity and those like it would be bound to the dust of Adam. There is no Adam being multiplied in the world outside of her. She's the only vessel. So what happens is that we see that during the activity in Eden, there is a new individual created. This entity, this serpent energy, was able to manifest a son in the world that would compete with Adam's seed. And time would go on and things would happen and God would flood the world. And after God floods the world, God allows Noah and his descendants to reign supreme in this new world. Yet what we will find is that these entities would show themselves again in Babylon. And this is where it gets real interesting. Because in Babylon, God would, all of the people that were the community of the Hebrew house are God's children. All of them. But at Babylon, we see the movement of these fallen ones yet again. These entities that included themselves in something that was never for them. They included themselves in a cyclic system that would need to play itself completely out in order to be done with them. They could not be outed prematurely. God knew he couldn't destroy them with the flood. But what God could destroy was their physicality. You see, they were no longer able to manifest in a physical body after the flood, which now made them spirits. They don't go away. They're still bound here until the end of the cycle, but they are disembodied spirits. Many call them demons. That's where you get your demonic realm from. They're demons. They can no longer manifest. Like when God cut off the line of Jeroboam, the king of Israel, for all of the wickedness he did, and all of his ancestral line, nobody in his line ever can manifest. He did this exact same thing to one of the children of Israel. There's nothing worse. You think money is good? You think money and fame in this life is good? Friend, money and fame gets real cheap when you get to looking at some of the curses that God imposes upon people for doing wickedness. It's just not worth it. And the only way you would do such wickedness is out of sheer ignorance. Because if you knew, you would never do such things. So these fallen ones are now disembodied spirits. They cannot manifest in the physical body. And in order to stay relevant, because it's got to be a bad deal to not be able to manifest, because of the extent that they would go to do such, they began bargaining again, because they were doing it before the flood, but they began bargaining again with the people. And because the people saw themselves, some may have saw themselves unworthy. I wrote some notes here so I don't miss out. Some may have saw themselves as inadequate. Maybe they just wanted a certain level of comfort that they felt like they could not achieve on their own with their own God-given talent. Whatever it was, they began leveraging certain qualities of themselves with the gifts of the fallen ones. They began taking direction from these entities that God just flooded the world to get rid of. And God would come and he would say, you know what? I can't flood the world again because I said I wasn't going to do it. It's before the end of the cycle. So I'm just going to have to let this thing play itself out. That's basically what he's saying. I'm going to let this play itself out. So all of the children of God, at that point, all of the children, God turned his back on everybody. Everybody. And said, I'm going to break all of you up into regions. I'm going to change all of your names. All your languages are going to be different. And I'm going to allow you all to combat against one another. I'm going to give these fallen ones dominion over you to an extent. And the only way that God would come back and show mercy to these people, because this is a loving God. We have a God that loves us, friend. When I tell you that when you are aligned properly, I don't care what nobody talks about. You can walk around this world like you are the biggest and the baddest, have at it. You can say whatever you want to. But at the end of the day, God does not play about his children. God does not play about his name. This is a God that remembers everything. This is a God that knows every single thing that goes on. This is a God that has created good, and this is a God that has created evil. This is a God that has created every single bit of everything going on up in here, up in here. Let me show you something. So if you think you're going to outdo somebody, or you're going to do this and you're going to outsmart, you're just going to outdo you and your family. Let me show you. The book of Isaiah. I believe it was chapter 30. Why am I having a problem finding Isaiah? Some of my book, this Bible is so weathered, y'all. I can't even tell you if the book of Isaiah is in here, because I might have took it out. Hold on. Isaiah, okay. The book of Isaiah, chapter 30. When he talks about, oh darn it, I'm on live. Hold on, y'all. I got to get this. When he talks about, I am the smith that bloweth the fire. Nonetheless, I'm not about to get lost in this, because here we are. So my point is that this God does not forget anything. There's nothing that God can't and is not privy of, or that God can't rectify. You've got to remember this. What the children did at Babylon surely harmed them. It broke God's heart. But what he would do is he would create a system to be able to trace the hand when it showed itself. And he will go about life and allow the children to go about life. Yet he would watch. And he would find those of the house that were looking for him. You see, God has set us all at a great buffet table. A great table. And there's many delicacies at the table that you can partake of. But you just got to pay the price. It's like my dad says, when I was younger, I'd say, I want to get this car, I want to get that car. You can get it. You just got to be able to pay for it. Anything you can have in this life, you just got to be able to pay for it and handle it when you get it. But what you find in life is that I've done this myself. I go out and I want that car. I'm going to get my taxes. When I get my my income tax check, I'm going to get this car. And I go down there and get the car, and I pay a real high price down on the car because my credit probably wasn't where it needed to be, or I didn't have enough credit history. And so I paid a substantial amount of money down. And then I found myself living paycheck to paycheck to pay for the car note and keep my lifestyle up. It was so heavy to keep the car. The car had become a burden to me, you see. Because, you can get it. You can pay the price to get it. But that thing that you get will be so burdensome to you that you won't have enough to pay for it. And now you got to go out and rob Peter and unalive Paul to keep paying for it. It becomes so expensive that it defeats the whole purpose of having it. It undermines the credibility and the luxury of just being alive. You see. And these are the things that these people will find themselves in. They would be taken advantage of by the ones that were bound to eating their dust. These fallen ones and their offspring will be the leaders of these nations, yet they never fall in hierarchy. They always keep their rank because they have knowledge. And the children, the ones that they are eating of their dust, are serving them when it should be the other way around. And so we find ourselves seeing, I brought this up, the Babylon situation up, so that we understand how this fits into the current affairs after the flood. These fallen ones are still prevalent. They have concocted an idea to feed the trauma of these people, knowing that these people were traumatized to what had happened. And because this walk in life is not a step-by-step mentorship, it's a test. This life is a test. God wants to see what you do. If it weren't a test, God will send someone with us every step of the way that we can get exact answers from. So we never fall for any of the tactics. But it's a test for us to arise and ascend internally so that we really know that we're not dependent upon a crutch to help us understand at all times, that we can lean on our own faculty and determine what is what. And these children would not do that. They would congregate in Babylon. And them congregating would multiply the fear. They would say, my goodness, this world, where are we? The optimism that could have been garnered by them if they would have went on their own and kept moving and experiencing life in new environments, the optimism would have been fostered had they done that. They would not have had time to dwell on the negativity. But since they stayed with one another and congregated, and all they could think about, all it took is one or two amongst them to continuously remind them of all the negatives that had happened. And then the fallen ones to fan the flames of that would only lead them to a fearful situation that the fallen ones would placate. They would say, we got to eat these people's dust. Let's lead them to do our will. And that's what they would do. They would lead these people to do their will in building the Tower of Babylon. They would never have been able to build the tower without the people. They wouldn't have. And that's my word for you today. Before we get into Revelation, you need to know that there are many amongst us that take on the attributes of these people. It's as if many of the nations have taken on the attributes of the system in which they bow to. The whole world, all of the children of God were initially the Hebraic house. All of the children of Adam and Eve were initially the Hebraic house. What distinguished them in future generations would be what would happen at Babylon. Babylon would be the birthplace of the Gentile nations. The Gentile nations were, after they took the word of the fallen ones and built that tower to defy God, these people would look to bind their own creator. They would look to do and justify just complete unrighteousness. Where is the righteousness? Where's the honor? They began to think they were bigger than the program because they were led to believe it. They began to take on the mantle of the people that they were under. And God at that time turned his back on them, creating the entire Gentile house. So you could think of it as the whole world was a Gentile nation at one time, until God came upon Abram. And he said, I'm going to do something new with you. And he does it. And this is the Hebraic house. It is distinguished because of a word that God spoke over Abram. Because just like God spoke all things into creation in Genesis, God spoke a thing to Abram, distinguishing Abram's seed from the other seeds of the same bloodline. It's a word that has been spoken over you. Yet in order to stand in the totality of this word, you've got to align yourself to it. It's got to mean a lot to you. This is a bloodline. This house, this Hebraic house, is a bloodline that is bound by a word, by a covenant, a promise. And all of those Gentile nations would look to find a way to partake of this promise, lest they must also eat the dust of these people. They've taken the mantle of the dust eaters. They're bound to the dust eater stuff, lest they, in future generations, when Jesus came and was unalived by them, the gates were open, and now they are able to be converted through baptism and faith. But initially, they had to eat the dust of these people. I'm getting somewhere with this. They had to eat the dust of these people because of the people that they had accumulated themselves under. They accumulated themselves under dust eaters. So they had to partake of whatever the nation that they were under partook of. They were converted. So all throughout the walks of these people, y'all, they're dealing with all kinds of situations from these dust eaters. All these nations that can do nothing but watch these people. They are forbidden to mate with these people. They are forbidden to coagulate amongst them. They are forbidden to honor any of their festivities. They can't do anything with these people. Two nations, two separate nations. Yet these people would have no other choice than to partake of the dust, the residue of these people. When you see Babylon coming and enslaving the children, you're seeing them partaking of the dust. These people could not partake of the promise. The children have the gift. The children give birth to the gift. They can only partake of the dust. They partake of what is birthed from these children if they can. And we see this again in Revelation. The community of these people have been destroyed by dust eaters. It has turned these people upside down. These dust eaters. They come up under these people and look to befriend them and look to be cordial to them, but they want to intermingle with them because they want part of that anointing. The anointing legitimizes them. I'm here to tell you, they'll do anything to partake of it because the anointing is so powerful that it legitimizes them. And these people not knowing what they have because it comes so naturally to them, and they are so mesmerized by all the goodness and the favor and all of the this and the that of these dust eaters that they have no boundaries. Nothing is off limits. And they find themselves in pitiful situations. All of their blessings siphoned. They are peasants to these people. Look at Babylon. Kings and queens, yet treated like peasants. After the siphoning, they are discarded like peasants. After the siphoning, the dust eaters are prosperous and the children are poor. After the dust eaters. They have a whole line of people, just nations, time after time. You see it in their fruit. It's you have to be under a spell to ignore it. You cannot ignore it. It's obvious. Yet the daughter of Zion. And what we will find is that, one moment. Rocky, sit. What we will find is that it will be these daughters of Zion that God will speak to, like when Sennacherib came with Rabshakeh to intimidate the children. And they blaspheme the name of God. God says in his remark to Sennacherib, or actually to Rabshakeh, here we are. Well, I won't even use that one. We're going to use this. In chapter 54 of the book of Isaiah, God speaks to the daughter of Zion, but he also speaks to his knowing. Okay? God is speaking to his knowing. And please pardon me on the unorthodox way that this is coming together. I didn't know which way I was going. I'm just going off of what God is flowing through me on. And what we find here is God speaking to his all-knowing authority. And he says in chapter 54, verse 16. Well, actually, we're going to go verse 15. Behold, they shall surely gather together, but not by me. They will coagulate like they did in Babylon, but not by me. Whosoever shall gather together against thee shall fall for thy sake. This is the covenant. This is the promise. You got to know it. You can't guess it. You can't say, I hope it's true. I hope, because if not, I'm going to have to go and talk to these. You got to stand in it. Behold, they shall gather together. All of those seven heads, they're going to gather together. But not by me. Whosoever shall gather together against thee shall fall for thy sake. Behold, I have created the smith. I created the man that bloweth the coals in the fire. Park right there. I created the man that has the knowledge and wherewithal to connect all of the things that he needs to do to be able to come to the ideology of blowing coals in a fire. Because I created the fire. I created everything that those coals are made of. And that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. I created the instruments. I created the mind of him or her that could fathom to do such. And I have created the waster to destroy. I've created it all. I am the creator. I created it all. The destroyer, the destruction, the creator, the creation, the elements, the material, it's all mine. Don't you for a second get lost in the sauce. Don't get lost in the rhetoric. Come back, refocus, and get lost in the facts. And the facts are, listen, no weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper. That means no. That means absolute. And every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment, thou shalt condemn. It is your birthright. It is your birthright. You were born into it. That crown, that's yours. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord. That crown, friend. Where is your crown? And their righteousness is of me, saith the Lord. Man, I needed to bring this up today. I'm telling you, I needed to remind you. I needed to remind myself. Even though I haven't forgotten, it's written on the tablet of my heart. I sing it every day and every night. It's my everything. It is a promise. I've never seen God break his promise. I've seen throughout this entire book how God takes his name and his values and his value systems and his people so very seriously. He does not play about you, friend. God does not play about me. I'm here to tell you, I say that in the most humblest way. God knows I do. And I conduct myself in a way to be able to honor it so that I don't misuse it, because the covering of it is so profound over my life. So therefore, when I go into chapter 12 and we look at, and there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun. Children of the sun. She's clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet. This is all wholeness. This is balance. This is everything that creates balance in this world. The sun and the moon all being synchronistic to one another creates harmony and balance throughout this entire realm. If one were to fall out of balance with the other, it would be chaos. And upon her head, a crown of 12 stars. 12 stars that are synonymous with her house. This is a line. This is a vine. And this is a mighty house. This house is mighty. There is no other house in this realm more mightier. God made it like that. Dust eaters and those of this house. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth and pain to be delivered. Right at the precipice of her delivery. Don't they always come when they want to catch you at your least advantaged state? But your least advantaged state is your most protective state by God. God, your least advantaged state, your most delicate state of you birthing that which is of God is the highest protective state you can be in this life. She has no choice but to give birth. I just explained that to you early on. We as women don't choose, okay, I'm gonna push my baby out tomorrow. I'll give birth tomorrow. We don't have a choice. When the body decides to push that child out of your womb, it's going to happen. You can't even control your own body. I was pushing the baby out. I was amazed at my own body. Like, oh my God, what's going on down there? I can't stop it. Not by will nor by might, but by love. You know for sure how little you are in control when you give birth to a child. It's obvious. And there appeared another wonder in heaven. And behold, a great red dragon. And behold, a great red dragon having 7 heads, 7 faces, 7 people, 7 nations. And 10 horns. And 7 crowns upon his head. And his tail drew a third part of the stars of the heaven. These stars of the heaven could be looked at, they say the fallen ones fell, but you could take this as an analogy of what happened in Babylon as well. Not saying that this is Babylon, but it is definitely in relation to it. You see, these fallen ones that had already fallen were disembodied spirits. This is why all these idols were created. They were creating vessels for these spirits to be housed. Yet it wasn't enough to house the spirit. They needed people to give it attention. And you can look at the children that were left in Babylon as the third part of the stars of heaven that were of the children of God, that these fallen ones turned out of fear and trauma. They took on the mantle of the dust eaters. And the dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. And her knowing. You think she didn't know? She's knowing. She's saying, I'm my body, I'm about ready to give birth. And in all my wholeness and in all my totality, this dragon is before me. And he is looking to take my child. But you never hear of her being afraid. You don't hear of the Bible speaking to her being scared of this dragon. For she knows that she has armies and legions of armies waiting at her disposal that go before her. Because what she has is precious. It's not regular. That's why this fight has been so monumental. They're trying to make something that is highly, highly valuable basic. This is what this energy is doing. One moment, you guys. And when she brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with the rod of iron, and her child was caught up into God and to his throne. My word for you today, I don't really know where this podcast is going, y'all. This is just me coming through to deliver you a word. Is that those that were turned in Babylon, those that eat the dust of the children, they take the residuals of the children because they don't have that creative aspect. They can't tap in like that. So they use the children. They conspire to use the children. Regardless of how it'll hurt the children, they don't care. They just want what the children have so desperately. They don't care. And they will use the children against one another. Look at Babylon. And in them using the children against one another, the children are the ones that take the brunt of the wrongdoing. Nobody suffered more than those nations, those children that were all children of God, when God turned his back upon them children. God had already turned his back upon these fallen ones and their descendants. It hurt the children. Yet you see these fallen ones thriving. But you see a long line of the children being destroyed. After they found no more use of these people, they destroyed them. It reminds me of, and I said this like a month ago. I don't know why all these things kept coming to me. I used Snow White and the Huntsman in one of my videos. And if you've ever seen it, check it out, where Ravinia, she comes into this kingdom. The kingdom is having a war. It's a disadvantaged time. They know that there is a strife within the kingdom and they're fighting. And so this enemy comes and they bring this woman. She's supposedly just passing through. But because they're not really paying attention like they normally would, they're not standing in their total sovereignty. They open up the back of the thing, kind of like Abraham and Sarah, and they see this woman, and she's all dirty and carried on, but she's a nice looking woman. She seems helpless, and they say, send her to the king. King will like her. And she seems like she's helpless and she's oblivious to everything. And then she gets into the kingdom and she unalives the king. Puts his daughter, who was the true princess, in the tower, the tower, and she takes over the kingdom. And in order for her to stay prosperous, she has her men at night go and take these people, innocent people that are in the kingdom, and unalive them so that she can get their vitality. She's siphoning the vitality of the people. And only people... But the princess knows. And the princess and this one individual go on this journey to challenge them. Goes back to what I say about eating the dust. This is not a well put together podcast, you guys, because it's coming to me in ways that, I truly don't really know either. But I'm here to tell you that there is a God in Israel. There is absolutely a God in Israel. And whether Hebrew, Jew, or Gentile, there is a method to this madness. There is absolutely a method to this madness, y'all. And it's all about choices you take. It's all about intention. It has everything to do with intention. And I just come forward to lead you guys to things because I've been put in very precarious situations that no longer frustrate me. They sadden me. They make me very sad because I don't want a lot of stuff that I see in the world doesn't have to be the way it is. It just is unnecessary. And I'm just looking to be of use to you in whatever capacity I can. Don't want to come on here and, talk about hellfire and you're going to do this. We're beyond that. What does your heart say? Because at the end of the day, whether you admit it or not, there's a method to this madness. We all got to stand and own all of our own individualistic walks. All of us. I don't care if you're 15, 10, 1. I mean, I'm sure if you're 1, you wouldn't have much to say. But if you're 5 or 10, 15, 20, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, all of us know we got to answer for our walks. And it's really what you do with your time that matters. Keep being useful. Look to do the right thing by yourself and your families and to just one another. Outweigh the bad with the good and see how that benefits you. I'm telling you, it's the best thing going. I surely wouldn't be on it if it wasn't. I'm here to tell you. I'd be out here peddling something altogether different. I go for what's effective. And I look to leave you with things that'll benefit you and that won't tear you down. Things that will lead you to be prosperous and to prophesy. To stand in your totality as a child of God. Not to break down the children of God. Not to destroy the children of God. That's the last thing I want on my resume, friend. I don't want no parts of it. You love more than you'll ever know. Be good to yourselves and be good to one another. Peace and love.